I've got the looks and the charm of an old movie star. Cary Grant, if you will, so I find it bizarre that this girl should refuse to step into my car. She must be shy, she'll come around, it's just a matter of time. Aurora, Aurora.
Hey there, Screen Beans, and welcome to Screen Snark, the podcast that celebrates all of the shows that are in our eyes, on our minds, and in our hearts. I am Rachel, quirky, Shank, the verbose.
I almost stepped on your intro again. I never learn is the problem.
Trying to sneak it in there every time.
And I am Matt, a.k.a. Stormageddon, and we are back doing this never-ending boulder up a hill.
Intro. That intro feels so long sometimes.
So long.
I kind of am suspended in time in the middle of it, you know?
Frozen.
Like, oh, there's still words.
I'm very excited to introduce our guest, who is also an AKA, which is always fun for me. We have the incredible Karama Horne, AKA the Blurred Girl.
Hello. Thank
Welcome.
you so much.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you.
This is awesome that we're finally being able to get to do this. The end
I'm
of the
so
year.
excited.
There's been so many things going on this year. I
Many.
live in this little box now in my office.
This is where we all live. We all live on the internet. None of us live in real space anymore.
Exactly.
It's
I
just-
had this thing on the side of my face the other day, and I was, what is that? I'm like, oh, it's from my headphones. I actually have an indentation from my headphones on my face now. Okay.
Oh, no. All right. You know.
Headphone indentations are the black lung of our generation.
are.
Exactly.
Really.
Yeah, they are. We're all working in the internet mines. Anyway, I'm gonna move on from this. We're gonna
I
talk.
love this metaphor. Let's
just
keep
the
it
worst.
going.
She's like this.
Our VPNs are our canaries. Let's go. I can do this.
We're gonna talk more with Karama about all of the ridiculous stuff that she does. But first, as always, we're gonna start off by talking about the most recent things we've all watched, and I will, as always, go first to keep that consistency going.
That consistency.
You know me. Anyway, I'm
Doing it consistently.
the movie I most recently saw actually was a really cool experience because it felt like seeing something it was something I'd seen before, but I felt like I saw it with fresh eyes. So I was very lucky to get to see last week the original Matrix movie in IMAX. And I never saw the original Matrix movie in theaters. I saw it on DVD like a lot of folks. It got its big popularity in the VHS or DVD release. And then I saw the two next ones in the theater, but I never saw the original one. And so a friend of the show and previous guest, Patrick H. Willems, was going crazy about getting to see this live event. And so I bought tickets for the same day, hung out with a bunch of nerdy friends, and saw The Matrix. Felt like for the first time with new eyes on a giant IMAX screen in Lincoln Square in New York, and God, that movie still slaps from start to finish. Holy hell!
Yeah. Hey, Matt,
Yes.
how's that trans allegory in a very big picture?
My God, it's still there. It's still very prominent, and it's funny too because the trans allegory is something that we've all talked about a lot in that movie, especially now that both the Wachowskis has transitioned. But it's so obvious now that when you watch it, and God, that movie is still so good. Also reminding me, not that I ever forgot about how attracted I am to Carrie Ann Moss, because, oh my God, is she a badass in that fucking film. And, I mean, freaking Keanu Reeves also, I remember that movie came out, and it was on the cusp of the, is Keanu a good actor? Blah, 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 even though he always was a good actor. But, that discourse. And watching it again now, I'm he's an incredible actor doing some wild stuff in this movie that we hadn't seen. And everyone remembers the "whoa" line and the Trinity help as he's dodging bullets. But there's so many other smaller moments. The interrogation scene is so fecking brilliant. And him trying to be a badass and trying to tell these suits off. And it's just there's a little bit of John Wick in there. I can see it. This is, baby John Wick. But yeah, it was awesome. I was so glad to get to see it again. Obviously, I assume everyone here has seen The Matrix.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm sorry, the whole crew of the Nebuchadnezzar, everybody's got their something on that ship where I'm just yeah, you could pull me out of the fake world to live in fear in the real world if I could just chill on the Nebuchadnezzar with all of these very cool, very very queer humans.
Yeah,
Definitely
all of them.
so.
Also, like, let's give it up to Joey Pants, who is telegraphing that betrayal so early in that movie when you watch it again. Like, you just see this asshole coming a mile away. And I've loved him in so many things, but like this movie, like, he's just so good at being that sleazy, gonna make some mistakes, gonna fuck some shit up kind of bad guy. It was so good to revisit. I loved every second of it. I think I had forgotten how much of a favorite this movie was until I rewatched it and realized I remember every scene in that movie because they waste no time. Every scene is important and every moment is important. And like Lawrence Fishburne, like I've seen him in so many things and doing such a great job in so many things, but this movie specifically, I'm like, I want to believe. Morpheus believes so hard, and I want to believe also. Yeah, I loved revisiting it and seeing it on that giant screen with those speakers and that soundtrack too. Like that final moment to wake up at the end when Neo flies off, like, is just one of the top 10 greatest endings of any movie ever. And like, there's no post-credits nonsense, which I love in our Marvel movies and stuff, but like it ends. He flies off and we're done. You listen to some Rage Against the Machine and Marilyn Manson and you get to go home. Like, it was such a phenomenal experience that I had forgotten how integral it was to my love of sci-fi. And it just got me even more excited to rewatch the sequels and see Resurrection, which I'm just so excited for.
Yeah. Having done my rewatch recently, it's so brilliant. Like, just it's this world.
Yeah, and the funny thing about it is, this is so funny too, because I was thinking of sharing another movie, and now I'm like, wait, maybe by the time this episode drops, it'll be cool for me to say this, but I've seen the new Matrix. So I got invited to a screening. And I'm not going to give it away because there's literally no way to talk about this movie without basically giving away the whole thing. But I will legitimately say that I personally feel it's better than the last two. I don't think it beats the first one that you just saw. But so much of all of the movies, if you haven't seen any of the Matrix, this movie, Resurrection's just going to confuse the hell out of you. But I think what I will say is they didn't try and reinvent. They used what was so good about that first one that you just talked about, and they leaned into it. And I think now, because we have technology that leans into what they were trying to say then, it's epic. I
cannot wait.
If you know anything about gaming or coding, you're gonna love this movie. In the same way that Mr. Robot went there. It was a beautiful story, and it was not a beautiful story. It's a tragic story, but it was a really well written story. But my brother, who's a coder, could not watch most of the first season. He's like, my job is to make sure that people don't hack stuff like this. I can't watch this show because what they're talking about is actually very real. Like, they consulted real people. So there are things that are in this. It's such an homage to what you were just discussing. So my movie tonight is not going to be The Matrix Resurrections, but I will tell everybody you need to see it. Also see it in a theater. If you can't afford IMAX, that's fine, but see it. Make sure that everybody with you is vaccinated and wearing the masks and everything. Yeah. But try and they're doing the thing. They staggered the theaters. Like, my theater was practically empty. So they're making sure that most of these theaters are staggering it. But it is worth seeing in a theater for the same reason, Matt, that you were just saying, oh, I missed it when it first came out, being in a theater. You want to experience this. The only thing I will say, even though it is explained, I missed Lawrence Fishburne. Even though it is, and he's been very vocal about the fact that he's not in the movie. This is not a spoiler.
Yeah. Right.
It is explained. Morpheus is explained.
Yeah.
But I still think he could have been a part of this film. So
Sure.
I feel like it's something personal. That's me.
Yeah.
That's my own little personal
right.
gossip. But yeah, there's things that people still reference in Matrix that are just, even how the whole red pill, blue pill thing has been twisted in the zeitgeist.
Yeah.
Red pill, blue pill, and
Every time I'm just like, this movie you're referencing. Hello.
Right.
Hello, red pill bro.
And it's really funny
written by two trans women. Like,
right. Like when people talk about like, oh, as long as there's no SJW stuff in this new movie. And I will tell people, then don't watch it. It's not.
And
for
also,
you.
why do you love this series? That's all that's in these movies. Like,
Right.
what are you even watching?
But there are some beautiful people. There are more beautiful people, more
yes.
beautiful
We love
crew. They lean. When I say lean, I don't even want to say lean. They stand in the trans in this show, in this movie.
Good.
They're not. Before I think it was a question. Now there's no question.
no question.
Yeah.
It's very, very obvious. Even how they have to get in and out of the Matrix. I'm like, so it's.
I'm looking forward
Thank
to it.
beans.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, well, thank you for sharing all that. It just gets me more excited.
Oh my gosh, I'm so
like,
excited. Now I'm gonna go brag that I was in a Zoom with someone who saw this movie. That's how excited I am for this movie.
But I'm so glad to know that, because upon rewatching it, like, it's funny, like I mentioned Carrie Ann Moss before, who I've always loved and has been in a million things. In my brain, she's Arya from Mass Effect, just because I've been playing that most recently and doing my podcast. And like Arya came way after Trinity. And so like now to revisit and see Trinity and see even some of that character in Trinity. And like, it's so cool to go back and be blown away by a movie you were already blown away by. And like, also I have to shout out Hugo Weaving, who I loved when I first saw it, but like following the pattern and the way he speaks so purposefully. Like, I love his cadence. I love his acting.
It's so funny too, because it later he was saying things like he was trying to speak through his accent.
Yeah,
as well as
so
sound
funny.
like a computer,
Yeah. And it's just he's so good, especially in those last scenes with Neo after Neo realizes he's the one and all of that. And like, it's just it still holds up. The special effects that have still have aged well, and then like every time I see any of the bullet time scenes, they still look awesome, even though by modern standards they wouldn't technically hold up, because those are done so differently now. They still absolutely hold up.
It's the same feeling of seeing like a besuited Godzilla. Like, you know, like what you're seeing is like, oh, this is very silly, but like still kind of a marvelous feat. Yeah. In the storied history of filmmaking, where you're just like, oh yeah. Also, I will always take a besuited Godzilla, even in the year of our demon 2021.
Yeah, same.
And you know what? I also want to like. There's a lot that has happened, like you said, in the zeitgeist and in the world of filmmaking since The Matrix came out. So, I want to explain to everybody: there was no Rotten Tomatoes when that movie came out. There was no like Twitter, there was no Facebook, there was no groupthink. Like when the movie came out,
it was all word of mouth.
It was all word of mouth. It was critically acclaimed because there was nothing else out like it. So what I would say about the next one, pretend it's 20 years ago and don't listen to critics. Just go see the movie, because there's those of us who liked that original movie for a reason, and there are people that are like, not against anybody who's Gen Z or who's really young, but there are people that don't have that frame of reference. Yeah. And we have such a politically charged social media arena right now that you'll pick words out of what people have said on Twitter and go, oh, I don't know if I want to see it. Don't do that. Go see it, and go see it with fresh eyes. For the love of God, don't play that Unreal Engine thing that dropped, because there's actually parts of the movie in it. And I was like, why are we doing this? Don't do that. Just go and see the new
How
one.
else will we know that Emperor Palpatine's back from the dead? You don't put it in the video game.
God.
It's like,
how else will we learn?
Yeah, and don't look at the toys. Don't look at any of that. That's something else that they ruined things with now. Like the toys dropped, and I'm like, yeah, that's a major plot point, dude. Thanks. But yeah.
Honestly, yeah.
No, I'm sorry. I thought I got cut off there. So
the internet, it's the best. As we like rail against it, we're using the marvelous technology itself to do this. I will say, like, in terms of like not letting outside sources like influence the way you feel about things, like this podcast is a prime example of that. Because how many times have I come on this show being like, the internet taught me to hate this movie? I'm looking at you, Schumacher Batman. You brilliant,
which are great, fun
pieces
movies
of movie. Come on, Josie and the Pussycats, the same. Like, do not let the internet teach you that something that you like is bad.
Yep.
Because like then you're gonna find everything's bad. So like, go.
And
just
listen,
go.
I've done work with Rotten Tomatoes, and I need to explain something to people. When a movie comes out, like in that first week before it comes out, and you hear like 30%, it only has a 30% Rotten Tomatoes score. That means like 7 people. I don't mean 7%. I mean 7 people that are approved by Rotten Tomatoes critics have gotten in their forms on time. They've gotten their stuff in on time. So you could be yelling and screaming, and it's just 7 dudes who hate everything. You know what I mean? So, and I've had to explain that to people. Like, anytime that you've seen a movie and especially if you see a audience score is 90% and the critic score, Godzilla was one of those. There were critics that were like Godzilla versus Kong. They were like King Kong versus Godzilla. They were like, yeah, this was like. There was hardly any dialogue. He was just fighting. And we're like, that's why we're here.
That's what you want to see. Big ape punch big lizard.
Thank you. We came to see the kaiju fight the monster. That I don't know what you read in the brochure, but that is all I'm here to see.
Yeah, I just want to see a giant ape get suplexed by a giant lizard.
That's all I want. That's all I want to see. So
they said it in the first Godzilla movie. It's let them fight.
Right.
Like, that's like
as long as none of the monsters end up pregnant, I'm fine. That is the only thing that I couldn't handle.
But going back to this first movie, I think that also if you've not seen the first movie and you've not seen any of the Matrix films, they are absolutely still worth watching. A friend of mine, previous guest of the show, Jesse Vitelli, as of when I last spoke to him, hadn't seen any of them and is going to watch them all. I'm just like, I wish I could be you. I wish I could in this year be seeing it for the first time. This experience at IMAX was almost that, but like, imagine seeing that movie the first time now, like, and how mind blown you're going to be with that first agent reveal or any of that other stuff. Like, it's such a star-studded cast and a kind of movie that I feel like we don't get anymore. And I'm hoping Resurrections gives us that again because, like, you know, I'm not a big auteur theory fan, and like I don't like to put people up on pedestals, but the Wachowskis have done some stuff in cinema that I just feel like no other directors have, from Speed Racer to this to
Thank you. I was just thinking about Speed Racer.
Like, and I want people to just enjoy. And also, I'm just so glad people are on my level with Keanu Reeves, a man I've loved since I was a kid, and now everyone else is on my level, you know? It's just, he is...
Now that he's a zaddy, everybody wants him.
Now he's a zaddy. I mean, he was hot even back then. Watch Much Ado About Nothing. You will be attracted to Keanu Reeves.
Oh my gosh, that shirtless scene.
That shirtless scene, it's like, boy, come on now.
You're just like, Kenneth. Why must you do this to me? I thought this was high art. Kenneth.
You were hilarious.
But all that said, it was great. I had a blast. I got to hang out with previous guest of the show, Adam Lance Garcia, in Meat Space for the first time, which was lovely because he's a delight. Make Adam canon. So, you know, I just dropping that in here.
We, at this podcast, must remain neutral on the Make Adam canon camp.
But all that said, I really dug it, and it was just a blast to be in that theater again, to hear this soundtrack, see this movie. It's just of that time, but it almost feels ageless. So if you've not seen The Matrix, go watch The Matrix any way you can. They're all on HBO Max. Just go watch that movie.
Yeah, just turn off the lights, turn off your phones, go back in time.
Do it. I mean, we had phones back then. We would turn them off.
They would just flip open. But you know what's funny? Yeah. Now the flip open phone is back.
But
back, remember, I will never forget though when he got the first phone.
It might have been
a Samsung, but it was like and we were like,
it was like a phaser almost.
Yes, we all loved it. It was like, what what magic is this? And also when think back to what they did, the technology that was used then and what was used to create it, and it's like when I tell people how much technology was created in the abyss, and they don't believe me, and I'm like, okay, so do you watch Foundation? Remember when all that water was filling up on those tanks? Abyss crawled so that Foundation could run, sweetie.
I gotta go back and watch Abyss. I loved that movie. Ooh, it was so good.
Such a good one. But anyway, so that those are my thoughts on The Matrix. It still slaps from start to finish. Go see it.
Yeah. So Matt.
Yes.
If you had to sum up Matrix, the first one, from the 90s, in just 3 words. And you know what? You can't use any of those that I said. You can't say 90s. I've decided.
Okay.
That's its full title. The Matrix, from the 90s.
Yes.
How would you describe this?
I got
film?
it ready. I'm ready to go.
Good.
Sci-fi, because there's a hyphen, so that's one word.
Yeah.
That slaps.
Sci-fi that slaps. There you go. It's all over the place.
The one thing I forgot to mention before we throw to you, Rachel, is also that first time that first dojo fight scene is some of the best hand-to-hand combat I've ever seen on screen between Morpheus and Neo. Like that whole fight where Morpheus just has one hand behind his back. It's mind-blowing. And then they mirror that scene when Neo's fighting Agent Smith after he wakes up as the one. Like, it's just perfection. Like, it's some of the best filmmaking I think ever, and it kind of pushed The Matrix to the top of my list of favorite movies again, which I'd forgotten because I hadn't seen it in so long. Anyway, enough about The Matrix. Rachel, what is the most recent thing that you have watched?
Oh, well, I am very excited to say that what I have brought is more recent, but an adaptation of an oldie but a goodie. I'm talking about Steven Spielberg's West Side Story.
Ooh, awesome.
Yeah,
very cool.
I haven't seen that one yet. I'm hearing good things, though.
I got a chance to go check it out over the weekend because you know me.
You love a musical.
Are my bullshit. And this, and honestly, I had either not known that a West Side Story remake was coming out or had forgotten because, like, what is the time suck if not 2021?
Yeah, I keep saying 2020. People, I just feel like it's 2020 part 2. So what is time? What is time?
It's the extra 20.
The extra 20.
2020. Let's go forever. It's the continual set of 20s in perpetuity.
Forever.
But I gotta say that the best way to be told or be reminded in a significant way that this West Side Story was happening was watching it absolutely clown the trailer of Dear Evan Hansen. Like, I was sitting in a screening for something, and the Dear Evan Hansen trailer happened, and I was like, what in the Lifetime auto-tuned movie hell is this nightmare? And I was just like, I think I hate musical movies. I think this is how I feel now. I think you finally did it. You finally took this from me. Surprisingly not through a James Corden, but I don't think I like musical movies anymore.
Oh, no.
And then West Side Story started, and I was like, fuck you, I'm back in.
I'm in. Give it a minute.
The trailer for Dear Evan Hansen sounded so bad. It sounded so bad. And I was just like, we don't know how to do this anymore, obviously. And then, like, the mix was so good on the singing and the music for West Side Story. I was just like, oh, just people don't know what they're doing anymore. Great fun. This movie renewed my belief that modern cinema can make a damn good musical. Like, In the Heights was absolutely brilliant, but it was not going to not be brilliant.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because, like, Lynn was so close to it, you kind of can't. But, like, having something like West Side Story, which obviously has been staged and adapted a lot, it's kind of hard to say when many of its creative team are no longer with us, But this was such a breath of needed air in the landscape of musical movies. And, like, That's a lot, because a lot of these have just been bad and terrible and not fun.
You poor thing.
And just like James Corden humping a car in a mouse costume. What are we doing? But like this,
Cats. We don't know her.
Oh,
no.
Even though I love that cat. I love that Cats for doing Cats, and I hate that Cats every time it stopped doing Cats. Every single time it was like, we're going to do some dialogue. I was like, shut the fuck up. Get back to the dancing about these cats who want to die. Get back into, get over there. I don't want to be on this fucking boat. Go back to the ballroom. Can't. Every time. I love that movie, though. I would watch it again. It's terrible. I hate it. But West Side Story. Sorry, we could talk about Cats forever in my head. I love that movie. I love that movie. I hate that movie. But this was just instantly classic. You know, had these moments of like instant, like iconic nature, you know, and I won't get too into it, but I think one of the strongest and best choices that I've ever seen done is having the rival gangs have separate scenes that build out their lives. And anytime you're in a scene with any of the sharks, like Maria, Bernardo, any of them, they are absolutely bilingual, and there are no subtitles. And it's one of the coolest things I've taken in, because I think it is not only an opportunity for presenting real representation, was absolutely like one of the most important things that we should be focusing on in a media landscape, you know, is an implicit understanding given to you through the lens of film that you don't need to understand everybody's every single word to understand their humanity. And it was so beautiful to witness that, and then also to live in that understanding that like sometimes not everything is for you, you know, like, and it doesn't have to be, because you can still connect and still be a part even if you don't understand every single ounce of minutia. Turns out you don't need it. Turns out you can just understand that someone's really sad. It's almost like we were able to do this with silent movies.
How about that?
It's almost like we've always known how to do this, and people are just real weird about subs and dubs and but yeah, and it also is doing such a progressive look back in a way that I was not expecting. I think that this thing lives in such a beautiful juxtaposition of being a piece from an older time about a point in our history that is looking back from today without being like, we're looking back from today, but like really building in like this modernity within this like nostalgia that like makes that nostalgia like kick you in the teeth. Like, one of the best things about this is they've updated the timeline to have it happen while Lincoln Center is being built. So these are the people being displaced from the Upper West, from San Juan Hill, and watching these like children with stakes built for adults fight over concrete and dirt is so interesting. It's so real and raw, and I can't believe that I'm saying this about like a movie where people shout mambo at each other for like an extended period of time. But yeah, it has such gravitas, but it also has such naivety. Like the fact that like these children are behaving like children 1 second, and then like lives are on the line in the next. It's absolutely beautiful and a wonderful like Spielbergian testament to old time musical cinema. I loved it.
I love to hear that. Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I want to. I loved In the Heights. But I'm a big Lin stan, so I like anything he touches. But I love the original, though, of course, it had its problems. And so, like, I'm excited that this new cast is more diverse, that the music has been updated but not completely changed. You know, I'm excited to see it. I'm hit or miss with musicals because as, like, an active music listener, I'm focusing so hard on the music that sometimes I miss stuff on screen because I'm trying to take it in. And so like I won't always like Hamilton was one of the few musical soundtracks that I listened to on loop. For the most part, I'm one and done with musicals. I hear it once, great, or whether I love it or not, and then I move on. And I know a lot of other musical theater folks, like that's blasphemous. Like you listen to and memorize everything, and like it becomes your everything, which I get. I just don't have that kind of fandom, but I'm excited that that you like this so much, especially because I thought the trailer was kind of only okay. Like I just felt like there was not enough music and singing in the trailer.
The trailer did not sell that. I completely agree.
If you watch it on the tail end of the Dear Evan Hansen trailer,
well, sure, yeah, I'm sure.
Though.
Anything will look good.
Joke.
Anything will look good compared to that, though. I'm sure.
They're just like, oh, this doesn't sound like trash. Run through a trash filter. Cool, I love it. Also, costumes, gorgeous.
Oh, I'm sure.
This they're
amazing.
So lived in. The clothing, like, and so purposeful, you know, like, again, very obviously, like, the choice you make when you're staging this, like, regionally or whatever, the sharks are in one color, the jets are in another color, but, like, they do it in such a way that these clothes feel like they're their clothes. That it's not just, like, the designer, like, put them in these because, like, oh, it'll look cool to have blue and red and stuff, but it's, like, different shades of that red. It's so pretty. It's so
awesome.
pretty.
I'm so glad. That makes me really excited to get to see it, which it's on my short list. Although there's so many movies coming out in the next few weeks. There's
yeah, I know.
movies.
It's a lot. They're like getting these things off their slate because there's like 2021 money that they need to get paid. And I'm like, I can't watch everything. But I too am happy to know that the update is, like you said, more diverse. And they updated certain things because brownface is wrong.
Yeah.
And
unequivocally and without a doubt.
But I'm thrilled to know that that's not in it. And it's really funny because I liked In the Heights here's the thing. I was happy about In the Heights at first because I saw it on Broadway and I loved it then. And I was one of those people that knew all the songs. And it was so funny.
Me too.
This is what you learn about being on the internet. I was on Twitter. Never tweet about how much you love something before you finish.
You could have just stopped at. You could have just stopped at never tweet.
Oh
like,
no,
that just isn't true. That's a true statement. Just don't tweet.
Don't tweet before you finish watching something because I saw the first two musical numbers and all the diversity and the heights and I was like, "Yay, this is great! I love this." And then I forgot to take that tweet down by the end of the movie, and I had people coming for me, and I'm like, "No, you're right. I sent this too early. I'm sorry." But I definitely still like the music in that movie, and I'm really happy to know when I saw Rita Moreno was there. I was like, what? Okay, they brought her back, and I was also waiting to hear how a lot of my Latino and Latinx friends felt, and they were like, nope, it's good.
Yeah,
it's good. We're you can see this, and I'm like, okay, good.
Okay, good. Good to know.
Because I'm really tired of watching certain things and like waiting for stuff to blow up. It's like, did you know? But I really am. I'm happy to hear that's good, that it's wonderful, and maybe that might be a movie that I see with my mom over the holidays because holidays are like really stressful, and she's health is an issue, and of course, we've got, I call it Omarion. Omarion is running around now. And so I
That's so much.
That's so good. That's very good.
And I want, we didn't want Omarion running around before. We really don't want him running around now. And so being able to take her to something like this, I think would really make her holiday because she's been literally sick and shut in. So I want to get her out.
Yeah, I think if you're a fan, if you're a fan of the original musical, I hated saying that line so much. But if you have a deep appreciation of like the original 1961 or, any production you might have seen live, I think you're going to find a lot to enjoy about this because it changes the structure in a way that gives everybody a little bit more to do and think about, like things obviously get cut in the adaptation process, and some choices were made that some folks might not agree with, and I can see both sides of like one song getting shifted between like characters,
right,
you know, but like at the same time, like, what are you gonna do?
But will my mom care? She probably won't.
No,
your mom won't care.
Like if you really have a love of a certain actor, then like you're gonna be like, yeah, I love this. You know, and I think because they spend so much time like building these characters out from other places, I'm cool with it. But if you want to see something new and different about sort of like an antiquated piece, I guess, if you want to go that far. It's doing so much fulfilling stuff that's like, oh yeah, it should have always been this way. Like Tony should have always been this way, because like this really makes a lot more character sense for like why he does what he does or feels how he feels. And sometimes you're like, yeah, that makes sense for you, Tony. And you're like, that makes sense for you, Tony, doesn't it? Oh, but you can't just say that out loud with your mouth. To Rita Moreno, you can't. And you did. Oh, you idiot. It rules. It's really good. And it's not going to be like everyone's an asshole or like everyone's amazing. It's like everybody's both in different ways.
Complicated.
Yeah. Yeah.
Give
me complicated characters who have really understandable reasons for doing everything they do, and also fuck you, Officer Krupke.
Hell yeah.
Eat
A-cab.
shit, Lieutenant Trank. A-cab motherfuckers.
Hell yeah. On that note.
Yeah, I said a lot of words.
You did.
So.
Rachel, if you had to sum up the new 2021 version of West Side Story in just 3 words, without the words West Side or story.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
What 3 words would you use to sum up this movie?
Said so many words.
You did.
You said 7. You could sing them. Can she sing the 3 words?
She could.
I could sing them.
She could.
I could. I don't think I want to because I don't have a melody in my head for it. I
believe in you. You can do this.
I got one. I need like one word that's not antiquated because I don't like antiquated.
But you want something a long time.
Something along those lines.
Updated, modernized.
Nostalgic?
Yeah, something like...
Wait, does it count if we give her the words? How does this work?
I mean, there are no rules.
We have rules and we break them consistently.
Break them all the time.
It's the first time I've ever asked for like thesaurus help, though, where I'm just like, I don't like the word antiquated because I don't think anything about this piece is antiquated. It is an older piece modernized, but like...
I believe in you. You can do this.
Musical history modernized.
There you go. You got there. I knew you could do it.
I needed 2 words to do it.
There you go.
And I'm glad that one wasn't yet or but, because that's where it was. I was like, antiquated but modern? No.
Excellent. Well, I definitely
Wait, what did I say? Hold on. I said musical history modernized?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, perfect. Got it.
Case will listen back and he'll figure it out.
It's fine. My beef with Case is over. I don't.
Okay, you're done.
That wasn't for that.
Oh, it's over. All right. You hear that, Case? Anyway,
the war has ended.
The war has ended. Well, thank you for giving us all that info. I am genuinely excited to see it.
Also,
no, never apologize for being
about this
you.
Movie. It's very. I loved it.
We are now going to pivot to our incredible guest, Karama. What is the most recent thing that you have watched?
So I actually told you the most recent thing I watched, which was Matrix, but we're not going to go into that because I want everybody to be able to watch it. I would love to come back to discuss this with this.
Yes, hell yeah, absolutely.
Everybody has seen this because
hell yeah,
I have so many thoughts. But something that I've watched very recently, and it's funny because it just dawned on me that it's not a movie; it's a series. Wait,
that's okay.
Yeah.
We can. Oh, it doesn't have to be a movie.
I just panicked, like,
too.
oh god.
It can be old, new, TV, movie, documentary, doesn't matter.
Yeah, this is one of the weird times I didn't bring like an anime series. So.
Okay, good. Because that would be my next thing. So, Arcane.
Yeah.
The Arcane series on Netflix is absolutely stunning. And I have never played League of Legends. But what makes this, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the plot, but I'm not going to spoil it because I don't.
Sure.
Matt, have you played it? Have you watched this?
So I have watched. I'm up to episode 5. I just finished episode 4 at lunch today.
Okay.
So I'm after the time jump. There's a time jump in this.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I've seen some of it, so I can talk a little bit about it. But yeah, I'll let
Rachel,
you.
you haven't seen it. Okay, so
I haven't. I'm over
on
Wheel of Time and then Foundation after that. So.
Oh yes,
Oh, good.
Foundation is going to take up the rest of. You know what? Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Thank you.
I
read that. I read Foundation and Empire when I was younger, and I was like, this is impossible. Like, you could never. And now I'm like, I have to see this.
Don't put the book down when you watch Foundation. Yeah. Yes, but watch it. I was able to interview the showrunner, so I want you to go watch that interview after you watch the show too, because he has some interesting things to say. But anyway, Arcane. Arcane is basically it's based on taking a few characters and some of the lore out of the League of Legends game. I'm going to get this out of the way right now. I do not play the game. I understand Riot Games can be problematic. I am not here to talk about them, about that company, because I'm only talking about Arcane as it exists as an animated series on Netflix. So there's
also no ethical consumption under capitalism. So it is what it is.
It is what it is, and that's my disclaimer. Fight me. So
don't fight Karama.
Please don't, actually.
Don't.
You at home, in your car, wherever you are, and I am in your ears right now. Don't fight Karama.
Don't do it.
I know I don't have to tell you this, my sweet little string beans, but like, fucking don't.
Don't do it.
Okay.
I love it here already.
Excellent.
So basically, what's great about this is I went into this, unlike a lot of things that I watch, not knowing a lot of the backstory, not reading the book and playing the games, knowing all the lore or whatever. And I love that. I get to do that sometimes because I really get to see whether or not something really has an incredible story. Arcane is not only is it well animated, it has a beautiful story. And people are like, oh, but the fight scenes are incredible. We'll get there. But I cried at a couple of points. Like, these girls go through it. And there are little voiceover Easter eggs. Shohreh Aghdashloo, who I actually just got to interview for The Expanse.
Yeah, you did.
Oh my God.
I love her so much.
I was
The
like,
Expanse. We're gonna geek out about The Expanse after the call, but not now because the new season's just coming. I'm not ready for it to be the final season. Anyway, you were saying.
It's amazing. And she does have one of the characters in the show. So basically, instead of having to learn they were so smart. Instead of like, oh, we're going to do this whole world building thing and teach you about all the... Nope. We are telling you one story about 4 to 8 characters, really. But it's really 4 that you're focused on. And it's going to give you a taste of this universe. And then if you come along for this ride, we'll build it out from there, which is brilliant. Because one of the things people keep doing wrong with adaptations, whether not their game or anything else, is I'm going to tell you all of the things and all of the characters and all of the stuff before we get started on the story. And that I'm looking at you, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, we didn't need 6 episodes.
They got there, but it just took too long.
But I paid money to bring Coulson back to life. I like to see him and all those other people. Yeah. Anyway, so they learned. So I will start by saying Arcane, I feel, has officially broken the curse of video game adaptations, which I feel started with John Leguizamo and Mario Brothers all the way up to Mortal Kombat. In terms of, it needs to be chapter and verse. I don't know all of League of Legends, but I have spoken to people who know the game intimately that said, oh, there was tons there. And they did it in a Star Wars sort of way, where you will see something on let me be more specific. They did it in a Mandalorian sort of way, where you'll see something or somebody will be wearing something. Even Rebels does this. And a little Bad Batch, where you'll see moments and you go, oh, okay, I know where we are now. Or somebody will pass you and they are a species of something and you'll go, oh, all right, so they're in this universe. So those of you who are League of Legends fans will love it. But it really takes place between these two. It's really funny because you just said, you were just talking about West Side Story, and it's again that old adage of one side, the haves and the have-nots, or one side of the tracks and the other side of the tracks. And it definitely has that feel. So the story takes place between Piltover, which think capital city, that kind of wealth, and Zahn, which for all intents and purposes is the slums. And Jace and Victor are two scientists who actually started in Zahn, but have, after years and years of work in service of the capital, are now living their best lives there, but they're scientists and they're mixing magic with science. And Jace is very well-meaning, but he also wants to protect what he has been raised in, even though he did come from very humble beginnings. And then you also have the two girls that are played, but basically Jax and Vi that are, but Jax is, for most of the story, she's not called Jax. I'm not going to give away, but her character, if you know her, is Jax. And they are from Zahn, and they are this sort of mixed, adopted family of orphans who are kids that have come together because their parents have been killed by the capital, by their military, so to speak, by their security force at one way or another. And just like most slums, they have been pushed back, further away from the city. And so they have less and less and less, which makes them want to fight and steal. And so you take away basic resources like clean food and clean water and healthy food, and this is what happens. So that's what they're living in, and they have to fight. So they have to fight to survive. And what's interesting about this story is basically Jax, who is brilliantly voiced by Ellie Purnell. I mean, Jax, so it's not a stretch to tell if you've seen any of the trailers. She's on the spectrum. She definitely has some demons that she's dealing with, and not just demons. I mean, I will go so far as to say she's probably paranoid schizophrenic. And the way that manifests from childhood up to even after the time jump, you're seeing what those seeds were after she's grown. Vi, played by Haley Steinfeld, who, I'm sorry, this girl is everywhere.
Working. It's just amazing and everything.
If you're watching Hawkeye, she's the girl Hawkeye. She's also the star of Bumblebee, one of the most underrated Transformer films ever. I'm looking at you, Internet, because another one that told us that it sucked, and the only reason why fanboys thought Bumblebee sucked was because it would start a girl. Yeah. It had one of the best representations of Gen 1 Transformers ever, and Angela Bassett was a Decepticon. I am on a tangent.
It's okay.
Yeah. They really Jennifer's bodied Bumblebee, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
they just
did. They sure did. Yeah,
they did.
Sure
they
did.
said, "Oh, it's a girl," and they just wouldn't let it live. But anyway, don't think that about Arcane, because I do feel like these two leads who are women do a fantastic job. Incredible. And Vi is very stuck. Vi knows that her sister is on the spectrum. She has her moments, but she protects her from the rest of the group, who they're a little gang basically. They run around, they steal stuff, they get stuff, whatever they need to survive, and. But the storyline, even though the two of them get separated eventually, and it really is about them trying to find their way back to each other, but in a very, very, but so many obstacles are between them. And but it's not cut and dry good and evil, which I love. Like I said, Shohreh Aghdashloo is in this. She plays Grayson, who's part of the security force, but she's part of a security force she has sat down with the people and she started trying to like, all right, let's find a way to keep the peace so nobody else dies. You let me know what's going on. I'll let you know what's going on up here in the Capitol. You let me know what's going on down there, and we'll work this out. And it's those moments. It's really also about, in order for things to change, both sides somebody's got to take a chance. Yeah. And they both and she does. And I think it's really, really interesting where after the time's up you see everybody go. Now I'm talking a lot about the story, but there's action. There's a lot of action in this. And one of the reasons why this is so incredible is for an animated series, the camera angles and stuff that they use are very live action cinematic level. And when I say that, I mean there are angles and shots that are hard to do and hard to capture when you are animating that they pull off. And the other thing is the style. Fortiche is the name of the French company that did the animation, and it is this mixed 2D animation with painted art that is very reminiscent of Spider-Man's The Spider-Verse. Also, I'm thinking of things like, I was going to say Electric Dreams, but there's been a few more animated series that have been out that have been those anthology series about animation. And I feel like we've also, with this movie, turned a corner in animation, because Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse seemed to put us in a place that we'd never been before, kind of like The Matrix did in terms of filmmaking. We've turned that corner, and so now we're going to start seeing some really incredible work, and I feel like Arcane is part of that. Arcane is part of that work. Really, really incredible, really expressive. Like, there are characters that make faces, and all they're doing is moving their eyebrow, but you're seeing all the work that went into, or you know, smirking or giving a serious side eye. Like Echo can give side eyes for days. And just some really beautiful, beautiful just interpretations. For instance, I just mentioned Echo. Echo at one point is another orphan who finds a way to make this little oasis for other orphans like him, other kids, and when you see the coloring and the shading and everything is very cool, purple and blue and gray and things like that in the world of Zan. But when you get to his oasis, it's this burst of color. It's the same colors that are still there, but the purple is now red, the slate gray, that slate blue is now like aqua. It's this richness, and these parts of the story are being told through the animation. They're not doing this discourse every 5 seconds. So the other thing that is amazing about this is how much it understands that its audience is smart. And I miss that in a lot of things. I think that's one thing that Netflix has been very good at. I think they have hits and misses, which is why we never see the numbers. But they throw a lot of things at the wall, and this is one of the ones that stuck. So for me personally, I think Arcane is a really incredible watch. I want to caution people, because I had to go through this with a friend of mine who's a parent. It is animated, but that does not mean it's for children. Okay? Correct. There is death. Like anime death. Like, you know how anime is like F them kids? This Arcane is F them kids. F all them kids. There's a lot of kids in it. So I need people to understand that it is beautifully done, but it is a sad, parts of it are a very sad story about how the innocent, particularly children, can be taken advantage of. And I don't mean, there's no sexual violence or that like that on screen. I mean, I'm hoping I gotta go back and watch, but there is definitely physical violence, and I just want to prepare people for that, because if that's not your bag, this is not the one. But it is beautifully, beautifully executed, a really incredible story, and I really think that if you've been on the fence about watching an animated or a game adaptation, this is the one. Because I like you, Rachel, like, I was like, I'm tired of seeing things and being told, and the first 12 minutes looks amazing, and then you just drop the ball. I'm tired. But this one brought me back in. I'm back. Yeah. I am back on game adaptation on that bus. I have high hopes now for Halo. Don't hurt my feelings, because it's going to be live action, and I'm scared.
I know.
I'm so scared.
I'm excited. I'm scared too, but like Pablo Schreiber is such brilliant casting for the Master Chief. I think we have a good chance of getting something real there, and like casting the voice actress of Cortana as Cortana in the series and things like that. Like there seems to be some care for that. I just want to say, as a League of Legends player who used to play a lot and then stopped for a long time, played a little bit more recently, like I agree 100%. Like I remember some of the characters, like Heimerdinger, for example, one of the head scientists and council members. Like you can't forget a name like.
He's a floof. Who doesn't remember a floof? Like the moment he came on screen, I did a screening in I was able to live stream the first episode because they let us on Twitch, and then I streamed more. But people saw me in the chat. I was like telling Chuck, I need you to find me a Heimerdinger squishy immediately because I need a floof. I need this floof in my life.
You want a hug? But like the characters are so brilliantly done that the ones that I don't remember now, I know Vi and I know who Jax becomes. Like I was familiar with those characters because I was still playing then, but still to see the evolution of some of the villains that I don't even recognize. Like you're right, it is beautifully animated. The music also, the from the Imagine Dragons song, which a lot of folks like to pick on them, but I am a fan. Like their song Enemy, which if you're on TikTok, you've heard every 10 minutes for the rest of your life. But also like even the club scenes and like the first time you go into Zon and into the bar in Zon and the music playing there, like it's so calculated and well done. Rachel, knowing you as a fan of anime, I think you'll really dig
love
this show because this show.
When we said "fuck them kids" in this animated piece, I was like, I'm in. I love it.
I'm in. That's it. 100%.
Give it to me, please, and thank you. More animated violins for me.
Also, this is just also for me, for someone like me who regularly watches anime as a Black woman, it is rare to see anime or animated characters that capture us well. But let me tell you how stunning Mel is.
Oh, Mel.
Mel is gorgeous. Mel Madara. And I was like, had anybody told me she was in the game, I would have been playing. Like no, and Chuck keeps laughing. He's like, "It's still a top-down thing. You don't see her face, honey." Like you can't. They're still running around on the board. It's like little dots. You can't see them.
But she's there, and I know she's there, and I want to be near her.
Exactly. And also just you haven't gotten there yet, but you will eventually meet her mother, who is incredible. I'm not going to tell you who voices her because it's just spectacular.
Sure it is.
But her mother is another one. Does it like? I don't want to give it away. But there's all these amazing characters, and Vi is not just. It's so funny because somebody said Vi was coded as queer. I'm like, coded? I thought she was queer. Did I miss something? Did I miss a memo? What happened? You tell me, Matt, because
I thought that Vi was queer as well, but who knows?
And I've seen the whole thing. I'm like, I don't think that didn't look coded to me. That looked like she is absolutely queer. I don't know why. Yeah. So, I would just also like to say representation in all forms, because even when you're looking at Victor, Victor is a scientist. There's a lot of stuff that he could have done, but because he was born with I don't even know if he was born with brittle bones or whether or not he suffered an accident as a child. But from you do see him as a child at one point, and he still has a limp and he still has the brace. So I think it is fantastic to show there's certain things that they just assume, and I'm like, Victor can't do that. Y'all can't see Victor can't go up there. Like, come on. So there's certain things that they address in very subtle ways that I love. And I think that it's a story. It's a love story. It's also a story about privilege. It's a story about capitalism, obviously, and and at the end of the day, it's a story about family. I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to quote Fast and Furious, but it's about family.
But here we are.
Here we
It's
are.
about family. Sometimes it's just about family.
And these are just not things that I thought I would be saying about a video game adaptation made for Netflix.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, when you start this, you won't be able to stop. You'll want to know what happens every single time. I remember after watching the first one, looking at Chuck, and he's like, "Yeah, I know. We got to watch the other two. All right." Like 3 hours are gone. I get it. I mean, it's actually not. They're not full hours, each of the episodes. Yeah. But yeah, that would be my pick. And if you have some time over the holidays, definitely grab some popcorn, grab some coquito, and watch that one.
Yeah, I've been taking my time with it, but I've been really enjoying it. And like, I think we've been really blessed that in the last few years we've gotten some good video game adaptations. Like, I love Detective Pikachu. I think it's a great entry for people who aren't familiar with Pokemon. And then Rachel and I saw the Sonic movie, and while it's not a perfect movie, I think it's a fun kids movie.
I am very excited for Sonic 2, and that is
me too.
Once they fixed
his teeth. Oh, the human teeth. No good.
Oh my god. But
let me also tell you that, like, the minute they cast Idris Elba as Knuckles, I was like, Knuckles is my favorite character, and I wasn't quite ready to be sexually attracted to Knuckles. But here we are. Like, that trailer that dropped last week where he's holding him is like, what makes you think I need your power, and then bashes his head in. I'm like, oh man, all right. Okay, I need a moment.
This is a very dumb Knuckles tangent, but I feel like I must, because this is the only time I will have this opportunity to mention this. So I collect these little plastic figurines called Sunny Angels. They're little blind bag, like Japanese toys, and they're just like little naked babies with like funny like hats on their heads. Like it could be a starfish or like a dog. Like, they're really cute. And among them is a little figurine of Knuckles. And they are all my children, and they are all the same.
I love it.
In every way. And so when Idris Elba was giving like this real like daddy energy to Knuckles, I was very confused, because Knuckles is my son. Knuckles is my child, and he stands proudly with the other naked Sunny Angels, because he's exactly like them in every way.
Every way.
I will definitely like supply a picture for this for the Instagram.
I was going to say, I need to see this.
Yeah, Knuckles standing proudly amongst his very naked siblings.
We will tweet that on the Twitters. But going back to Arcane, I agree with everything you've said, and I haven't even seen the whole series. And Rachel, you absolutely have to watch it. You're gonna love it. But Karama, now has come the time. If you had to describe Arcane in just 3 words, and you cannot use the word arcane, what 3 words would you use to describe this series?
I've had a little bit of time to think about this. So, family, fighting, and Fortiche.
Ooh, I love it.
Family, fighting, Fortiche. I love it.
Because Fortiche is the animation studio. So there you go. Because I couldn't find a word for animation that started with an F, so I'm just giving it to them.
All right, good. There you go. We love alliteration on this pod.
It's also very descriptive, because that's the style.
That is the style. That is very true.
I'm just going to start naming creators in mine, in my 3-word
reviews.
There
you go.
Make it easy.
Spielberg did it. West Side Story.
Spielberg did it. Well, now I would love to chat a little bit about you, Karama, the incredible blurred girl, who I have been fortunate enough to be friends with for quite some time. Met at a little nerdy bar in Brooklyn. So long. I know. I miss you. We're going to do dinner soon. I was texting with Chuck because I had the pleasure of finally meeting Mark Mir over this past weekend as of when we're recording. And so, of course, I texted Chuck a picture of
everybody, aren't you, Matt?
Just meet. I am. I'm just getting lucky.
Matt, actually, I played my very first TTRPG game with Matt. I'd never played one before, and it was ages ago, back in the olden days of 2019.
We were so young back then.
I know. I was cute. I was thin. Anyway, we were I played Mass Effect, and he was Asa Krogan.
Yeah.
Because they're my favorite characters. I'm a big fan of secondary characters, especially ones that are like big and like knocking things
Hell
over.
yeah.
So I have to thank you for that, because now everybody thinks I know how to play tabletop RPG games. I'm like, I just learned the rules. Wait.
Look, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. You pretend that you know until you know. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. Totally fine.
You RP real hard and then like lift up and go, GM? What the fuck am I doing?
Exactly.
What do I roll?
Exactly.
Well, that's why I picked a Krogan, because he just would stomp on everything, and he would like it's like, do we go in? Should we kill them, or should we? Is there diplomacy? I'm a Krogan. Kill them. Like it's just really simple for me. So
well, I'm glad to have provided you with that early TTRPG experience.
Yeah.
It was my pleasure. You and previous guest Chuck Collins are some of our favorite humans, especially in the Storm household. But Karama, what I actually really wanted to talk to you about is you've been doing the Blurred Girl live for a while now on Twitch. Mm-hmm. You have a podcast. You've had a podcast for ages. I remember when your podcast was this tiny little half-hour thing that like you produced and like was not live, and it was just this little thing you released every bi-weekly, monthly, and now you've got the Blurred Girl empire interviewing.
Oh my God,
incredibly famous people who, like, when you interviewed Wilson Cruz of Discovery fame, who I adore. Like, I was so jealous.
He's such an incredible human.
He's lovely. But what I want to ask is, talk a little bit about that evolution. We've had tons of podcasters on the show, but I've gotten to watch you grow from being a presenter on Sci-Fi to starting your own thing to like building it, and now you have a weekly live show. Like, talk about that progression. Did you ever envision this for yourself when you first started pursuing podcasting?
Okay, so short answer, no.
Who does in the old podcasting sphere?
Well, here's the thing. It's really interesting because I knew I liked interviewing. I mean, look, I could talk to a tree, so but
you're in good company.
I liked interviewing, and shout out to Sci-Fi for giving me like my first red carpet experience, which was at Black Panther years ago. But the podcast actually turned into a way, because at first I couldn't figure out what I wanted the podcast to be, because I figured no one just wants to sit there and listen to me talk. I just thought that would be ridiculous, so I must be talking to somebody else. And that's why it was so hard for me to be consistent at first. And then when I started doing it on a regular basis, I found it was easier to do interviews and get interviews and stuff like that if it wasn't, pre-pandemic. If it wasn't live, I was able to set my system up so that if somebody called me, I could filter it and do all the things and have a really good sounding show. I'm kind of like you, Matt, where it's like, yeah, no, don't. I need you to wear headphones. You cannot be leaning out of a car door. You cannot be in the supermarket. Call me when the kids are asleep. Like, no, we are doing a quality product here, folks. And I come from editing commercials and TV shows and things like that. So I knew that I could fix stuff in post because that was my wheelhouse. So I'm like, I just need the content, and then I can make it, do what it needs to do. So interviews started sort of going from word of mouth, but I've always had a niche. My niche has always been, and I tell people on a regular basis, I'm a culture journalist and content creator, parts at the intersection of geekdom and diversity. People are like, oh, you need to widen that. You need to interview, all kinds of people in entertainment. I'm like, I do, as long as they're within genre. And that niching down has helped me tremendously, because 2019 dropped and people were like, we need people of color who know comics that can be on a red carpet and can talk Black Panther, Spider-Man. I'm like, hey, I got a reel. I'm here. I have a show. And so then I started getting sort of like paid for it. And so, but what was interesting was, and to this day this happens, there's a lot of stuff that I am not given from like usually when you work with an outlet, they'll hire you to, we want you to cover this, we want you to cover that. And that happens occasionally. But 90% of the interviews I get now, they're coming to me. They're coming to the Blurred Girl, which means a lot. The way I was able to do that, though, I wasn't going for the stars. And my show and my website, I tell people I'm not a news outlet. If you want to know what dropped yesterday and who is in Hollywood doing what, or what the numbers are on Netflix, you need to go to Collider. You need to go to one of those places. That's not my thing. My wheelhouse is for people who are fans but have jobs and lives and things. And, listen, let me sit down and see what the Blur Girl said she liked this week, because then I'll play catch up, And that's my wheelhouse. The interviews I would get, I always like talking to somebody about something interesting. So, yes, you want to interview the star of the show. You want to interview, for instance, like N.K. Jemisin, triple Hugo Award-winning, amazing writer. Everybody wants to talk about the Hugo Awards and fighting, the sad puppies and the angry puppies and all of the racism that happens in the science fiction community. But what N.K. Jemisin really wants to do is play Skyrim and collect wheels of cheese.
Yeah.
But nobody knew that until I had this conversation.
Yeah.
And she said that to me in a thing. I'm like, oh, we are talking about this on the show. Because I've never heard of somebody collecting wheels of cheese in Skyrim and not fighting dragons.
It's now my favorite Skyrim mod. I watched that video interview really quickly. I wasn't going to mention it because I didn't want to be like, I watched your stuff. But I have to tell you, when you mentioned that you do editing, like the edit on that is so seamless. Like I kept forgetting that you were like cutting and I was like, I'm distracted by how good this is.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. You did all the work. I just got to enjoy it. So.
Well, and what I love also about your show, like you mentioned, like you're not just here to get the stars, is like you interviewed one of my favorite humans on the planet, Tanya DePass, also known as Cypher of Tyr on Twitch, who I've been following for ages. I've been in her chat on Twitch for ages.
Come on the show. Come on the show.
She actually got me back into streaming at MagFest many years ago. She did a panel with previous guests of the show, Urban Bohemian, about burnout and what it's like to stream regularly and how you're not going to get rich overnight and how to do it and so I've been thankful to her but your interview with her is so incredible because like you could talk about Twitch and you did a little, but like the focus was about how she is on the front lines of fighting for diversity, especially on Twitch and at TTRPGs, how she's created the Motherlands and how like her TTRPG journey is helping to push people of color to the forefront because they've been playing these games forever. Just nobody, it's all the loud white dudes who are talking about it. And like, I love that you're just as likely to put a famous actor to the forefront on your show as you are a Twitch streamer who's been busting their ass trying to make it and make something of this space that's hard to break through. And I think
because they're all important. Yeah. And I also think because there's some interviews that don't make the live because the person is like, I cannot make that time frame, that time slot or whatever. But again, I stay trying to find. I love talking to the stars, but I love talking to the director or the producer or I remember when I was able to get a hold of Hannah Lee Culpepper and everybody was like, why her? I'm like, okay, not only is she directing Picard, but for some reason, everybody just skipped over the fact that this is the first, in 2020, this is the first Black woman who has ever directed a Star Trek episode ever. A pilot. I don't know how y'all missed that. But
it's important,
right? Or talking to people who are showrunners or who are I tend to go for things that are interesting, and I'm the one thing that I am very good at is also I keep a crazy calendar. People's birthdays, when things first came out, stuff like that, so that I can also reference. That's how I get a lot of eyes on stuff on social media. Like, years ago for Ace Comic Con, 2019, I got to interview.
You're so young, man.
I know. I got to interview a lot of people, but like Kit Harington. So like his birthday's coming up. I'm gonna drop a clip on his birthday. That might be how some people find me. So I do find relevant ways to sell to talk about the show, but it's not always a star. Most of the interviews that I did were with people before they were stars or with a lot of the crew. Stunt people. I remember talking to stunt people after the stunt woman that died on, I was about to say Daredevil. It's not Daredevil, my God.
Jessica Jones?
No. The Oh my!
I don't remember what
Wade
it was.
Wilson. I can't remember the name of the.
Deadpool.
Deadpool. Thank you. On the Deadpool set, like I talked to stunt people. Like, what are your feelings? Like, talk us through how it works being a stunt person. Like, what are the steps? Like, how could someone get on a bike? You know, things like that wasn't trained or was or whatever. So there are all these conversations that I like having. Do I like having them with Black and brown people? Absolutely. I have conversations with all kinds of people on my show, though. But you'd be surprised about how many people I wish you'd interview white people. I'm like, I do. You just don't see them for some reason. This is all you want to see. But
the internet yelling about seeing more white people. That sounds so strange, right? That never happens.
But my whole thing is, in terms of if you're gonna talk about it, I am tired of having conversations about diversity and inclusion. I'm just doing it.
Yeah.
So like
absolutely.
When I have that when people go to my column over at Sci-Fi and it's about indie comics, it's not indie comics that are only based on Black people or brown people. It's not. It's indie comic spotlight. I've spoken to all kinds of people, and they're all comics and things that I find interesting. Yes, because it's a larger website, they do want things that are like Valiant and Image level of indie sometimes. But I've gotten some really tiny folks on that column, in that column a few times, because people are like, well, we don't know them. And then I'll just send them the art. And I'm like, think again. They're like, okay, run it, because there's some, my whole thing is there's some people out there that are doing quality work that if I can shine a light on what they're doing, they can be purple. I don't care, as long as they are really doing the work and they love the work. And the other thing I'm also really a fan of are people who big up other people. So one thing that was great about Wilson and a lot of other people that have come on the show, they've been like, you think I'm good? You need to go check that out. And that's led to other things. So I will definitely say that word of mouth has definitely helped my show. Like my first whole season of The Blerd Girl Live was basically, I was very lucky. April Rain and Orlando Jones basically telling people to come do my show. And it's really funny that you called it a podcast. It is. But I had this whole grandiose plan. I'm going to do a 2-hour show every week. And then on Tuesdays and then on Thursdays, the whole show's going to go up on podcast. And I'll have a blog post. And I was like, wow. Okay. So I regret that decision. But I realized that the only way that I was going to be able to really make this work was if I was going to be consistent. So in 2020, when they turned everything off and I didn't have a mortgage to pay and I didn't have bills to pay, I was like, I have some friends that are on Twitch that have a gaming channel that are trying to get into this talk show vertical. Let's try it. And I was like, y'all are going to have to help me produce this because I don't know a thing about Twitch. And I did 2 seasons with OSNYC, and they're a fabulous company. They have an actual studio, not for recording shows, but for actually gaming. It's a gaming lounge that's here in New York. And this is how they were servicing their clientele as well as their fans and everything while their the Panorama had everything shut down. And so I learned I learned so much about Twitch, but it was very funny because I told them I was going to do a talk show, and I think they thought I was just going to sit up and talk to my cousin. And I rolled in with Orlando Jones, and the president of the company was like, okay, so I didn't know. I'm sorry. We would have gotten you some more things. The majority of my career has been that I've been in the room and people just don't see me. It's like they just don't know or pay attention. It's like sort of like Black Girl's Curse in geekdom. And that's even happened to me, at Sci-Fi at live events where I do live stages. I'll never forget being at, I think it was Emerald City Comic Con, or it might have been C2E2, and there was somebody that I knew was about to do a whole half-hour panel on My Hero Academia with Colleen Clinkenbeard and literally the voice of All Might. And he didn't know a thing about the show, didn't know anything about anime, and I'm like, y'all gonna let him do this, really? Because that crowd will tear him to pieces.
Yeah.
And we're live. And they were like, well, is it as big as Critical Role? I'm like, first of all.
Well, excuse me.
First of all. I'm gonna forget you said that. But yes, it's huge. And so that after a couple hours turned into, Karama, do you think you can maybe handle the interview by yourself? I'm like, it's only what I do. Okay. Yes. Yeah. I was like, Ursula, yes, honey. Why, darling? It's what I do.
It's what I live for.
It's what I live for.
To talk with celebrities of all walks.
So, yeah, it was just, so I ended up doing that show. So I tend to be in the room and saying, hey, maybe we should talk to the director who's there. And they're like, oh, how did you know that? That was a great idea. And so but here's the thing, even though it's aggravating, I've used those experiences. So I'm saying all this to say that there's a lot of the podcasts that I do that is not from the live show comes from interviews that I've done that are longer for places like Nerdist or Sci-Fi or whatever, that we've just had a longer conversation. So it might be I only get 1,200 words or 1,000 words to write about Hellboy, but Mike Mignola talked to me for 2.5 hours. Guess what? That's going to be on the podcast. So it's about using these experiences. And also, way before all of this, I would go to conventions with a mic. I used up a whole paycheck paying for a really good Zoom setup that I could roll through conventions with and go. I would make times at people's desks, at people's tables. I have never met a comic creator that didn't want to talk about their comic,
Sure,
so
of course, yeah.
I could just roll up to people and be like, okay, so Battle Plug, tell me more. It's so everybody I think who's trying to start a podcast just needs to start where they are, niche down, because you're going to get inundated if you don't, and try to be consistent in one place. I was pretty consistent I was so proud of myself at the beginning of 2020 because I had preloaded, like end of 2019, I had interviewed like 20 people. I had content for my podcast to drop on time every Tuesday right through March. And then the panorama happened and half those interviews just didn't make sense because they were talking about all these shows that were not going to happen. And so doing the show and then pulling it over onto my channel has been one of the best decisions I've ever made. And even though I wasn't able to always keep everything up on the podcast, I have in the past few months gone back and I'm now loading stuff up. There's interviews, there's portions of these conversations that nobody knows about that are still relevant. And what I've ended up with after a year and change of this is content. And I have clips I can drop every day all over the place. Most people don't know this. August, September, I wrote a book. I can't talk about the book yet because it's not out, but I wasn't on the internet in August and September. I would really just pop up once a day. I had basically preloaded tons and tons of clips and links to things. And I had an incredible team that was replaying my live show that was helping me. It was only 2 or 3 people. I'm making it sound like I got like a whole bunch of people. It's like 5 of us. And
it's not nobody.
And I, and that was why I was able to go off and write my book. And what that month taught me is that people aren't paying attention. They could not care less if I was there, if I was not, as long as they had access to the things that I was doing. So there's a lot of people who are overthinking this. I think my biggest, and now I'll explain this. The impact that the Blerd Girl Live has made has now allowed me to do other things. And I was doing a lot of interviews. All the interviews that I just got for The Expanse, they came to me. They didn't go to Sci-Fi. The interview that I got with Keanu Reeves was not, it was for my column on Sci-Fi, but what happened is he wrote a comic that's part of Boom Studios. Mm-hmm. And Boom Studios, I've regularly been writing about. I always interview their writers, their artists, for several publications. And so when it came time to, we need somebody to interview this team, we need to know what they sound like. There's an example, my show. Yeah. We need to make sure that, they can handle this. They just came to me. They said, if you can get Sci-Fi, you think Sci-Fi would run an interview with Keanu? I'm like, anybody will run an interview. Trust me. They're not going to say no. And so I did not get to edit that, sadly, Rachel. Trust me, you'll notice. But it was.
I'm gonna watch now. I'm gonna take notes.
But it was something that now people are like, oh, I'm like, no, I do not know Keanu, but it was a lovely conversation. He is a lovely human, and I've gotten more chances like that because, and I'm always listen. I did not know what level I was at until I got to host the Star Trek Discovery panel at New York Comic Con, and for the first time, I got to meet Sonequa Martin Green, and she knew me. She was like, "Oh, girl, I know you," and I was like, "Ah!"
Oh no! Oh no!
And then I'm looking at Wilson, like, "What did you tell her?" He's like, "Nothing. I didn't know."
Do nothing.
And then so
Love
I've
that.
had some just incredible people who have told me incredible stories, and the wonderful thing that I get from everyone is that, oh my God, it was so comfortable here. I could talk to you for hours. I love that. That is the best compliment.
My favorite compliment
to an interviewer, because it's like, I did it. I made them feel at home. And that's what you've got to do. I've been lucky enough to have people that I didn't know. I found out later, like, yeah, they weren't gonna do this if it wasn't with you. I'm like,
oh, okay.
Okay.
All right.
I didn't,
all right.
you know, and I am as clumsy and as goofy as they come. I have.
Yeah, you are.
I haven't, right? I haven't.
Confirmed.
I haven't been diagnosed with ADHD, but I would be very surprised if I didn't have it, because I will, you know, I forget things as the day are long. As the days are long, I will forget them. So if you are on the fence about starting a podcast, please start one, and stop thinking that, oh God, but everybody does this, and everybody.
There's an audience for
Yeah.
everyone.
There is an
Everyone.
audience for everyone.
But you don't.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
the thing. Like you mentioned
That's
earlier,
important.
Karama, that like you were nervous to think that, oh, nobody's going to want to listen to my voice. But one of the most interesting things that I think you will discover if you do this enough is that people want to hear you, and you can call that like a parasocial relationship if you want, or just like finding camaraderie in the sound of someone else who's like, I see the world a little bit this way, and like if you do too, or like you want to understand that, like that's enough. You're enough.
And I've actually figured that out, and I might be crazy enough. I might actually be doing another podcast. It is just me. Because that
Everybody
I don't have to
6
schedule.
podcasts.
But also I can preload that, because I don't have to sit and schedule a time to talk to a person and a thing. I can just get up in the morning and go, the way I see it and the way it ought to be, you know, and then that, maybe that'll be the name.
Ooh,
Wait,
yeah,
now.
you
that's
said
good. Write that down.
that,
Write that
and I
down.
just
Wait.
like, it tingled, and I was like, oh, I would wake up to that shit every morning. Are you kidding me?
It's funny though, in all seriousness, Karama, you talk about all this stuff, and like it's genuinely why you were one of my favorite people that I've ever met. And it's because I see myself in you, I mean this with all the compliment in the world, but you have no chill. Just like me. You have no chill. You want to do everything all the time forever. And I thought I was the only person like that, who, like, the person who hosts 4 podcasts and produces 8 podcasts. Like,
Everybody have 6
who
podcasts.
No, you know what
Like,
it is? And I have to tell, and I'll be honest with you about this. Matt, I was about to say Storm knows this. Matt knows this. Rachel, you're probably unaware, but I'm a stroke survivor. And one of the things that I said when I was learning how to walk again and use my hand again and do things was like, listen, I'm going to get out of here, and I'm going to do something that is fun, and I'm going to help some people, and I would like there's to be some comics involved. So, God, if you're listening, ancestors, wherever you are, I don't know how much sage I have to burn, but make this happen, please. And so, and here I am. So this is the other thing. If I seem like I'm in a hurry, the 80% of people who have strokes will have another one, and I had 4 back to back, which is
Holy
fun.
socks.
I would absolutely, I don't recommend it, but
No, I can't imagine.
and so I tell people, if I seem like I'm in a hurry, it's because I am.
Because I am.
I want to
Yeah.
make sure that I get all this out. But hey, in all honesty, I'm joking, but I'm much better. I can use all of my limbs, but I know how lucky I am, because there's some people that I was in rehabilitation with 7-8 years ago that are never leaving. And so that is how I get through the crazy. That is how I get through the screaming, yelling on Twitter. I have people like, oh my God, how do you put up with it? I'm like, because I can use my hand today. I can stand up. It's the little thing.
Yeah.
This person isn't a
Perspective.
stroke, so
Right. Hey,
Right.
exactly. Like, and like that year, I had a stroke. I was going through a divorce. I almost lost my house because I had a flood here while I was in the hospital. I was in a hospital out of state. My dad died. So yeah, There is literally nothing you can say to me that is like, hey, but this is terrible. And I'm not saying that you don't go through them. Emotions are real.
Right, of course.
What you feel is real. You could have a very bad day and feel just as bad as a person who lost a parent. I'm not making that comparison. What I'm saying is, after I got through that, I was like, yeah, so, okay, yeah, And the person who got me through it, a good friend of mine, was a cancer survivor who had a radical mastectomy at like 28 years old. So when I was having a bad day, she would go, oh, you feel bad, honey? Let me tell you about a bone marrow transplant. Let's have a discussion. And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. So the thing that I've always used for all of this is perspective. So there's some stuff, Matt, you and yours have been through some stuff over the past year. Listen, but when you look back on it, you're not going to look at, maybe your delivery having the wrong order as angrily as you would before, because you know what? I can deliver food. There's that.
I had a call with my psychiatrist, and I hadn't spoken to her in a couple of years because I just needed more medicine and went to other things. And I dropped the bombshell about losing my house in a fire, and she went, "Excuse me, what?" Like, wait a minute, back up. I was like, oh yeah, I'm not that upset about it anymore. She's like, well, you should. Like, you can be. You're allowed. Like, I on this podcast several times I'll say, oh, I'll stop bringing it up. I'm not. Rachel will be like, you're allowed.
That's why people. And the only reason why I don't like talk about the stroke all the time is because I just don't want to go through the whole. But honestly, there's like a comedy show there somewhere because the craziness that I went through. But it's really funny. One day I hope I get to interview Tig Notaro because I listened to her stand up about going through her illness and losing her partner and losing her mother and everything. A nurse gave me that when I was in the hospital. So it was Tig Notaro and Beyonce that got me through Christmas of 2013. And I can't tell you that I hope to. That was actually the one thing I was sad about the Star Trek Discovery panel was that I couldn't.
Is that Tig wasn't
there? They weren't there, yeah. And I think they weren't there because they had trouble traveling because of their illness. So, but there's so many things that you're nervous about. And I'm like, I think the other thing that also helped is things like TikTok. And I know that sounds crazy, but like I was so used to Instagram and everything has to be perfect and the sound has to be perfect and we have to all the things. And TikTok is like roll out of bed like, yo, so coffee is a necessity. And you joke, but that's exactly what it is.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
So I kind of got over, if you're looking for a place to get over your nervousness about talking to people, go to TikTok. Say something for 30 seconds every day. Just promise yourself that you'll do it. Doesn't matter who listens or comments. Just do it and get that fear out of your system.
I love that advice.
And then you'll be able to do a podcast because there's no camera there.
There is no camera there. That's true. I mean, we have cameras.
I mean, today, but regularly, yeah.
It's funny you say that. I podcast every day. And TikTok, I don't podcast every day. I podcast consistently for a couple years now. And you said, go talk on TikTok for 30 seconds. And I was like, and what now? No.
No, forget it.
But now I'm gonna. Well, I'm gonna challenge myself.
Do it. I'll watch you.
Or take past episodes, because that's something else I've been doing. Because somebody came in my comments and they were like, "You're really good at this interview stuff. You should do more." And I was like,
"I love that.
I should probably post.
Honey.
I should probably post more of what I'm doing."
But my favorite is when I asked questions of my TikTok followers, the whole 400 of them strong. Thank you for following me.
Yes.
But like I talked and someone who's commented like, oh, you like Mass Effect? You should maybe do a podcast about it or something. I was like, boy, that's on Twitter. That's all I'm known for. Like, let me tell you. So I love when that happens.
Was worse than when your house caught on fire.
Right, exactly. They don't know I like Mass Effect.
No, that's not true.
Karama, this has been such an incredible delight. I feel like I could talk to you all night long, and I know I could. But we shouldn't keep the listener here forever. But thank you for joining us. It's incredibly huge honor to have you on the show. I love your work so much, and I've been such a fan. Like, I get to be your friend, but I also get to be a fan, and that's so incrable to me, and I value you so much.
Absolutely.
So
and now I know Rachel, so now I got to look at all the musicals Rachel's looking at so I can find more.
There you go. Oh yeah, just follow her on Twitter. She'll show you everything.
It's all just anger,
anime, musicals.
Anger at the system, and how much I love cute things.
I have to because I had to watch one of these too. Okay, so AMC Plus has this series called Ultra City Smiths, and you have to watch
Okay.
it because it's animated. It's animated baby dolls.
Shut up.
That have been taken and put into this world. They're not dolls. They're now portraying adults. It's a murder mystery musical.
Shut up.
Oh
They
my
break
God.
out into music numbers with baby dolls. You heard it here first, folks. Ultra City Smiths. You
That's
have
gonna
to
be-
check that out.
Well,
I'm not
That's gonna
kidding.
be-
It was.
It's gonna be on.
well,
It's gonna be on the show
really,
in 2 weeks.
I really thought that like Arcane was gonna pop up after I get through Foundation, but now I have to find this. I woke up this morning and was like, you know what I would really love to see? An animated musical pro wrestling show, like Yuri on Ice, but it's
Ooh.
pro wrestling and it's a musical.
That would
so
be
you've
amazing.
Just,
There's some wrestling in this.
you've just given me something to like
in fact,
fill
in
that
fact,
dark
BB
passenger for a while.
Wait. In fact, BB Newworth plays the wrestler.
Shut up.
Fuck yeah. All right. All right. So we have to.
I
We're gonna
have become full Valley person over here.
Yeah, let's go.
If shut up,
Up.
gag me with a spoon.
We are going to thank some people in a
Yes.
moment and ask Karama our
Yep.
final question. But before all of that, Karama, please tell folks where they can find you and what you do online.
Well, you can find me, the Blurred Girl, TheBlerdgurl, all over the internet. But you know I get mail on Twitter. I'm always on there. Instagram is another place that you can find me. And, of course, on my live show, twitch.tv/theblurredgirl. I have a Thursday morning show that is 8 a.m. where I play like indie games. And
Nice.
then Tuesday nights is when I do the interviews that he was talking about. I have one more interview next week. That'll be my last interview of the year. There'll be a couple of replays before we come back in January. I'm going to take her west.
Good.
Yeah. So
You should.
apparently sleep is a thing.
Oh, sure. If you say so.
Sleep
I have
is a
no
thing,
idea.
and everyone
I believe
just
you.
deserves it by virtue of being alive.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Well, go check all that stuff out. Please follow Karama everywhere. If you're listening to this when it aired, tomorrow night is that last interview. So
Yeah, go.
watch.
And hey, and everybody, go ahead and get it Tig, Nataro to get on the show.
Yeah, tag them.
Yeah,
Tag them in the
but,
tweets. Do
listen,
it.
we may
If
be
we
a
accomplish
small
anything.
little group, but like if you tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend, let's make this happen. Let's get
Let's
some
make
Tig.
this happen for Karama. Let's do it. Let's do it. Get Tig on the show. Let's do it.
2021 has been a nightmare, full of like continuing paninis. It sucks.
Yes.
Let's at the very
Yes.
least
Yeah.
let's get some Tig.
Let's get out of this personal pan pizza, pleplease. And
Please.
get into 2022 before Omarion comes for all of us.
But we should thank some folks before we go
Yes.
home. Rachel, who do we
Not
have to
Omarion, first of all. Never. No thanks for you.
thank? Never.
But many thanks to John Presnell for the use of the song Aurora off the album Fair Game featuring Stefan Remble.
Also, thank you to the incredible Katie Bug, who designed our incredible show art. We adore
Yes,
you, Katie.
and thank you to the Certain Point of View Podcast Network for once again including us in your little family of weirdos living on the edge. You know, we
Yes.
got shows that you might like.
Shows and shows
Fables
and shows.
and Reflections, Panelology. We've got the Saturday Morning Confidential podcast. And yes, I did pull up the website to read those because I can never remember anyone's names in the moment.
It's
I did
all
this
good. And
for
if you
the network, because I love you.
And while you're over at certainpov.com, you can also join
Yeah,
our Discord
do that.
server. We have a permanent invite link there. You can also find a link to our show and the other shows. Also, if you have a chance, go over to Apple Podcasts. Give us a rating and a review because we could use it to help get us featured, and we just like to hear from you
And 4
beautiful
stars
babies.
is fine. I'm not even mad.
Yeah, we don't even need 5.
We're
4.
just
We'll
like-
just take 4. We're
Yeah,
really easy
you got
to
some
please.
spare stars in your pocket? Just throw them our way.
Yeah, just
At
throw
least
them our
more
way.
than
You
2,
can also
please.
please. You can also find us on Twitter at @screen_snark. You can find me at DJ_Storm again. You can find
And
Rachel.
I am Rachel Quirky on the interwebs in Twitch, Twitter, Insta. Follow
All that
my
stuff.
cat
All
at
those
the
things.
Champion Cat.
Yeah. Do
On
it.
all
Do
those
it.
places
It's a very
as well.
cute cat. And you can write us an email at screensnarkpod@gmail.com. Now, before we go, Rachel, will you please ask our guest our final question?
I forgot for a second that I have to do this part because I've just been so excited about this conversation. So I must ask you, I love this question. If you could choose one trope made popular in movies or television to instantly and magically be true in your life, which one would you choose?
Oh my goodness. One trope to instantly and magically be true. Oh, wow.
That's a tough choice.
Mine is currently still Secret Worlds, just so we're all aware. I like to check in every once in a while.
So you can,
like, I just want to open like a door and be like, it's Narnia or something. I just want to get out of here. I'm so sick of this panini.
I think the trope for me is similar. It's like it's superhero science. It's like, Doctor Who, very timey-wimey. We're just, let's just reverse the capacity of the neutron flow and we're out. Like, I just want that one thing that's the Deus Ex Machina that I can just turn to. It's just like a key I can just pick up off my desk and be like, yeah, we're done here. And it goes kind of along with the superpower that I always want. And people always ask me this and they think it's going to change and it never does. And that is Nightcrawler and his ability to bamf. Just leave immediately. I'm not explaining. It's just going to be smoke. You're just going to smell like and what is that devil
sulfur?
Smell sulfur. You're going to smell
sulfur as you vanish.
Exactly. So it's like I farted and I left, and that's it.
I love that. Perfect.
Without
Perfection.
the all having to leave after I fart situation.
Right. No,
like,
it's
you just disappear.
The farting is the leaving. So just the brimstone is just.
Amazing. What an excellent answer.
Perfect.
Thank you again, Karama, for joining us. This has been an absolute delight. We adore you. Thank you to my incredible, beautiful, wonderful, handsome, and delightful co-host, the incredible Rachel Cruikshank.
And thank you to my musical history modernized co-host, Matt, a.k.a. Stormageddon.
The best compliment I've ever gotten. And thank you, of course, our incredible listeners. We adore you. We love you so much. Thank you for being here with us every 2 weeks. And we will see you at the movies or on a couch somewhere. Bye-bye.
Aurora, 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 Aurora. Metal to magnet, she will be mine. Aurora.
Nostalgia is one of the strongest forces in the human psyche and is responsible for the continued existence of some of our favorite fandoms. From the minds behind the Dole Up in Dreams podcast and Isolation Cast Voices from Quarantine, Saturday Morning Confidential takes you on a deep dive into the properties that helped influence the artists and creators of today. So whether you are a Goonie, a Gem Girl, a Digi-Destined, or you just want to return to Oz, new episodes release on Fridays bi-weekly starting January 1st of 2021, and join us on the Wednesdays after the main show for the Serial Killer Radio Hour, where we sit down with the people responsible for the toys, shows, and fandoms that you love. Now you can find Saturday Morning Confidential at certainpov.com/SMCpod or on your favorite podcast platforms. So don't forget to tune in for another deep dive into the files of Saturday Morning Confidential.
CPOV. CertainPOV.com.